Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown! 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome into Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, if you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. As always, you can put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. All great ways to do so. And, man, we got a lot of things to talk about. We can go NFL. I do want to talk a lot of hoops today. There was probably the biggest damn trade I've ever seen in the NBA. When it comes to two players of that caliber, I can't ever think of another time that's happened, at least in my lifetime. And then, of course, Husker basketball. Not only do they end the streak versus Illinois, they double down and go beat a ranked opponent on the road in Oregon. So now you racked it up. You got two back-to-back ranked wins versus conference opponents, one at home, which, was a little ugly at times, but they did really well in terms of scoring in the paint. Not so much beyond the arc, but they did enough to win that game. And against Oregon, it feels like they're putting pieces together. Good morning, Pierson-El. How's it going on Monday night? And thoughts on Husker hoops?
It's a victory Monday all the way around. In multiple levels, in sports, football, volleyball, basketball. It seems everything's on a rise. So feeling pretty good this Monday.
Yeah, and the weather just keeps on keeping up as well. A little bit windy today. I'm not going to complain. It's February 3rd, and we're still sniffing around 40s and upper 30s. So nonetheless, it's been interesting here at Huskerland. We've had a lot of news and just a lot of good things happen in these past few days here. We'll get some of the smaller stuff out. So Husker basketball, that's probably the big one right here. So we'll keep going on here. I just want to see Bryce Williams, 28 points, 10 for 18. This guy was incredible, especially down the stretch when you really needed him. Bryce Williams, after that losing streak, he had some press conference moments that felt like he was almost a little upset with himself in terms of his leadership, and he's done everything to help these teams win in these last couple of games here. And on top of that, he is evolving much more as the playmaker. I think I griped on that a little bit too much about Bryce Williams, and especially in that Oregon game. Yes, we do still need to get another guy at that point guard position. But Bryce Williams, he can handle it. And against Oregon, he showed that game where, yes, there's going to be times where he may be tired, where you're going to want to get him some help. But, man, as a playmaker, he looked fantastic in that game. What do you think about Bryce Williams and really the MVP in that win?
He's putting money in the bank for himself. When it's all said and done and things come to an end, I think his stock is going to, skyrocket. The type of players at the next level is looking for build mode, versatility. He's starting to show that, he can be a total package and a steal coming up. So, as long as he continues to climb and everything like that, and puts together, a good combine and whatnot, I'm anxious and happy to see, where he will fall.
Yeah, definitely right about the stock rising. He's interesting. He's a really long guard. You saw that a few times His defense really picked up as well, which is, again, another thing that was talked about in press conferences from Hoiberg himself. That looked a lot better in this game. He played 37 minutes as well. So 10 for 18, like I said, that gives him 28 points, 6 for 7 from the free throw line. And the thing I really like, 7 rebounds, but he also tags in there 6 assists, 3 turnovers, maybe still a little bit too much, but not bad. You're playing 37 minutes. You're the focal point of the offense. I can live with 3 turnovers on the day. Just an overall great game from Bryce Williams. And that assist number, even if 6 isn't the most impressive thing you've ever seen, it is indicative that he's getting better in that area. And there's a lot of passes that he's making that aren't getting him, you call it the hockey assist. He's been phenomenal. And the other thing I really noticed in that game to Marty Pierson-El is we fixed the fast break finally. I don't know why we could never figure that out. Last night, we finally took advantage of a fast break correctly. And we're getting wide open dunks, wide open layups, wide open shots. To me, that was honestly the game changer. It was like the chemistry
momentum
clicked.
I would agree. Again, like I said, I mean, you get those type of exciting plays or those moments to where, it just kind of fuels you. You kind of chase that feeling again. And I know they were in a little bit of a slump. All teams go through it and whatnot at some point in time. So hopefully, these last couple of games, they lock in and kind of get back to where they were.
We're looking at the picture right now. Nebraska basketball, they're certainly in the mix. Underestimated some of their wins, right? So they got 4 quad 1 wins, 4 ranked opponents. That's UCLA. When we got that at home, that's, of course, who am I all blanking on? Oregon, Illinois, UCLA, Creighton is that 4th one versus ranked opponents. Oh, those are actually stacking up pretty nicely for Nebraska. After that Creighton win, I think people are like, okay, that's a good win, but Creighton's not really looking great this year. We might have to do more. Creighton turned it around immediately after that loss to Nebraska. They actually won their next 6. We ironically lost our next 6. So that one's stacking up. Illinois is going to sit well. That team's good. And then Oregon, they're in a little bit of a up and down stretch right now as well, but they're sitting good enough. And there's not a whole lot of season for those guys to drop off. So you are sitting there. How confident are you that this team is going to go dancing come March?
You have to still take care of business. So I think that's a bit jumping in game. You have to win the games that you're supposed to win. You can't, afford any Iowa losses, any Maryland type of losses. You can't afford those. Like you've beaten 2 pretty good teams in the Big Ten, and you're capable of playing to a higher level. You have to keep playing at that level. You can't play to your competition level. So as long as they take care and get the wins that they're supposed to get to, it's a pretty good shot. But the most important one in front of them is the next one, and up and so forth. If they keep that mentality and keep rising their level, before you look up, hopefully, they'll go deep into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good thing, at least, too. Like, they're making themselves available for that Big Ten tournament, which at one point, I mean, they're on that losing skid. It was like we almost didn't win our game, after that first loss for the entire rest of January. We just barely snuck a win in there at the end. But it was getting to a point where you're like, man, I don't like any postseason play might be off the table. They've done those 2 wins are huge because, ranked opponents, Big Ten opponents are going to take them. And then you do look ahead. Washington, yes, not the toughest opponent. It's a 9:30 game, though. That's a late tip-off, when you're Central Time always, so that maybe have a little bit of a factor. Of course, it's on the road. And the thing about Washington that's interesting, this is a team that's probably going to be pretty pissed off. I was taking a peek at their schedule. I thought we had a tough schedule run here. Washington is coming off of a loss to ranked Illinois at home, a loss to ranked Michigan State. We saw what Michigan State did to us when we had to go and play them. They just destroyed us. They lost to those guys on the road. Then they had to go play ranked Michigan on the road. They lost to those guys as well. Then they get ranked Purdue at home, take another L. Then they go ranked Oregon on the road. They take another L. Then they get UCLA, not ranked, good program though. They take another loss to UCLA at home. They finally just bounced back in their last one with a 3-point win on the road versus Minnesota. So this is a team that kind of similar to Nebraska. They might have figured it out, just going through that many tough losses to finally pull out a win. I'm curious to see what this Washington team is going to look like. And our guy, Winhelm, is actually down there as well. He's a former Husker. He's now a Husky. This Washington game on the road, 9:30, late tip. You know, what's got to be the goals for Nebraska come Wednesday and they face this Washington team?
It's middle of the week. You know, you got travel and everything like that. I think being able to talk yourself into it. You know, your body will feel a little, I don't want to say jet lag, but you'll feel a little tired because it's your normal clock is late, but out there it's not. So I think the day will feel long. So you got to have the energy and, you know, get up and start fast. I think if they start fast and handle business and everything like that, they'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the big one. I didn't even bring up that point. That's the other thing about this game that helped Nebraska tremendously. You want to win games on the road, you got to get out early. Nebraska just took control of the game from Oregon right away. It's like, I know you like to go up and down the court, fast break. We're going to slow this thing down completely. And it wasn't even like Nebraska was doing it by force. They were just comfortable playing their game, not getting caught up with what Oregon was trying to do.
Yep.
And then eventually Oregon got smart. And they're like, okay, if they're not falling for this, then we're going to just actually have to force it. And then you start seeing them a lot of full court press, and they had some success. Really, it wasn't until that second half we figured out how to consistently beat that press. So again, that's another good thing to identify and figure out in a win versus Oregon, and that press didn't completely destroy you because they, you know, never got the lead. But at the end of that first half, it looked like Oregon was going to come back swinging in that second half, and it was the complete opposite. They really were playing good, but Nebraska figured out enough how to break that press, was doing good enough in transition, scoring a lot of points in the paint, just enough to keep them behind. And Oregon completely unable to ever take that lead. I'm feeling good about this Nebraska basketball team. Anything else left to add here? It's been a miraculous turnaround. Of course, we're going to talk about it a little bit more on Washington come Wednesday. But anything else left to add? And also Bryce Williams, Big Ten Player of the Week again. Can't forget that.
Congratulations to that. I mean, you know, but that's it.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure that one feels good for Bryce Williams, but I know that guy wants to win some more. So, you know, like the March Madness, it's awesome. That's still a goal. You got a lot of games left, though, and there's still some unique roster tweaks. We did see Sam Hoiberg play 37 minutes as well. Didn't really pop off on the stat sheet, but he just does enough of the small things that you can make an argument.
He's an energy guy.
Exactly. How do you feel about that? 37 minutes for Hoiberg. I actually, when I watch him play, I never see him out there, you know, not belonging.
I don't want to say he's a grimy player, but he's a hustle. He's a hustle player. He makes extra effort and he can kickstart, you know, energy and bring in swing. So if that's what you kind of need and everything like that, fine and dandy. If he annoys the opposite opponent and to, you know, turnovers or something along the line, I mean, that's his job. He's a utility tool. He use him for what, you know, he's good at, and he's good at bringing the juice.
Yeah, he is fantastic at that. I totally okay with the 37 minutes that he played versus Oregon. There's going to be times, right, where matchup wise, like he is the shorter guard out there where he's going to have to take less minutes. But it works out really well when you got just an absolute dog in Juwan Gary, who's going to guard probably the best offensive player on every given night, unless, you know, it's at that center position. And then you got a really good quick guard in Sam Hoiberg, who just defensively, as you kind of added, just a real hustle guy. Those are two great defenders that really do a good job orchestrating that defense. And then we talked about Bryce Williams picking it back up on that end as well. Moving on to Husker football. Some notes there as well. First one, Rico Spindler out of Notre Dame. We get the transfer. Thoughts on him being a Husker and adding some real power to that offensive line?
You know, the game is won at two positions, quarterback and you know, the lineman. So quarterback check. Now, you know, continue to stack the offensive line. So it's a huge victory. You know, hopefully we can grab a few more.
And then the other news, Eckler. He is back. He used to be the linebackers coach for Nebraska. I think it was like 08 when he was down here his first year. He's back. He's been down there at Tennessee, their special teams coach. He's going to keep that same title over here. Ed Foley, we all know, got let go after 2 years with the Bat Rule. And what I really want to ask you about this first, how we feel about Eckler as a special teams coach.
Love it. Great hire. He's a defensive guy. He's gonna, you know, seek and destroy, period. You know, that's gonna be his MOs. So he already, you know, understands his stuff. He's operated at a high level when he was here. He's operated at a high level in the SEC. So clearly, him evaluating talent and getting guys to play and everything like that, it's going to be good. So that's a huge plus.
Okay, and the other thing is, are we confident that Ed Foley was the why for special teams problems? Because the other thing with Ed Foley, it's easier for Nebraska fans to dunk on him, right? But Ed Foley went with, Rule to Temple, Baylor, Carolina. He was there with all of them. And special teams were never big of a problem at any of those stops. But it was a problem here in Nebraska. And I'm not saying, he didn't have any effect in it.
We had problems before he got here. So I'm not putting everything, on him. Kids have to execute. Kids have to show up and be accountable for things and whatnot. So it's not 100% all on him. But special teams are special for a reason. But you have to find the right group out there to that wants to do it and doesn't mind doing the things. And some kids may have been irritated, pissed off, and frustrated about the situation. And that was the product.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm starting to land with Ed Foley. As it's like, I don't think he's this guy who doesn't know how to coach special teams. I think the problem is like he showed up at a place that, whatever reason, the special teams culture at Nebraska has been abysmal. It's been that way for a long time, and we use the reference all the time. It's like they fix one thing, another thing breaks open. It's been that every year, over and over and over. So maybe it's not one of those things where Ed Foley doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Clearly, he knows what he's doing with all those stops. But I think it was more of this place just needs a culture shock, especially on like that side of the field. And that's why I like this move with Eckler, because this guy, he's intense. If I had to pick one word to give him, intense. So maybe that's what that side of the ball needs. Just get some fire and some actual want to and purpose behind it. And maybe Ed Foley was trying his damnedest to instill that. But we've all been around certain guys that drive a little bit more fear into you than others you may know. And I think that might have been what the case was. So was it all Ed Foley's fault? Probably not. Sometimes you need a new voice in the room.
Yes.
And I think that's what Eckler is. And it's a voice that's going to be a sharp contrast from Foley, I think. Not that Foley couldn't get at guys, but I just, from what you see at Tennessee and Eckler, like he's not going to take any half-butt effort from those players out there. That being said, obviously, we're going to figure out what the pieces are. We'll get closer to spring ball, which is the other thing we got to talk about on the second segment is the spring game. But like, how confident can we be that the special teams, really starts to get patched through? Because it's going to keep losing us games, and that's the most frustrating part about it. Until we fix them, a couple up.
There's a couple of things that that you can't account for to happen, and you hope not to happen. But for the most part, I feel like at some point in time, it was corrected or it was consistent, and then it would just rear its head. So you have the potential, and you have, the people that know how to execute it is just doing it on a consistent basis. You're bringing in an intense guy like that. I remember, Bo being in those type of meetings and everything like that. This coach coming in he doesn't owe anybody a thing. He doesn't care about, he doesn't have a relationship, with these kids just yet. So he's going to get after you to see how you respond and everything like that. And you're either going to respond negatively or respond in a positive way. You respond in a positive way, it helps the team. And I think if you get more so of that across the board, I think, less and less what the struggles were and what the issues were. I think we would see that even lesser or, completely dissolved.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, right? Because, of course, there's going to be some unforeseen things. You always like this year, right? We head into this thing where like, wait a minute, what's going on with Alvano? Then Hall has to come in there and there really struggles, kind of getting thrown into it. Doesn't fix it until really Ohio State game.
Yeah.
You go back and rewind it. Like that really hurt Nebraska for a while. And that was an injury you couldn't necessarily anticipate. You should have had more depth maybe, or make sure the next guy up was comfortable.
You really, they cutting down the roster. So it's not really, what you used to have to where you might've had two, maybe three kickers, on hand. So, now you're going to have to recruit dual guys, punters that can kick and, kickers that can punt. So I mean that's gonna versatility is gonna be, can you do both? Because now you're taking up two positions with one. If something does happen, you're fine either way. So I mean it's still not an easy thing, and that's different. Like I said, if they didn't cut down the numbers drastically like they are, which is still crazy. But I mean we'll see how it goes. But it's good. Their teams are not gonna sacrifice a roster position for multiple kickers. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, that is a good point. And of course, we're going to talk about that because it definitely played a part, the roster limit into the spring game and the decision behind that one. But since we're on it, and like I do want to ask this, we're going to break here. It'll be the last thing I got for you. The QB punter is so good. Like, is that ever going to be a thing where you actually get QBs who are some willing to do that and actually learn to get good at punting? It's not one of those things where, even before the roster limit, you hear other coaches talk about it. They hate it when you have actually punt the ball. Because
that's so situational football. Like you might see no more than 3 of those a year. So I don't think that's going to be a trend that catches on.
Like it'll never be taught. Is what I'm asking.
I don't think so. No, we got other things to worry about.
Yeah, that's fact. I'm always curious because when I do see the rare QB punter, I can't imagine like if you're the defensive coordinator, that just really sucks to have to worry about when you got the starting QB out there who's also going to be the punter. Adds a lot of layers into it, but you're probably right in the fact that there's probably other things to worry about at that QB position. All right, we'll throw it to break. We do got to talk about the spring game. We got some answers on that one, and of course, we still got some crazy NBA trades that went through over the weekend. We'll talk about that as well. Don't go anywhere. Don't Punt Tower. Good morning, Pierson-El, Harrison Arns. Talk to you in a little bit.
Hey volleybal fans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Cobble, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at cobblecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Cobble. So please stop on in or visit us at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela. They let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome in segment number 2, Don't Punt Hour. DeMornay Pierson-El, Harrison Arns joining you once again. Keep it on the task of Husker football here. We do got the spring game, and you know, DeMornay Pierson-El, how aware are you the decision behind not doing the spring game this year? I guess to drop the news now, there will be no spring game this year, or at least in the sense of a full-on scrimmage, live scrimmage.
I thought he was saying it just wasn't going to be televised.
Oh, is that how they're doing it? I thought they were just going
from my understanding. That's what I thought.
I figured they were doing something. I just wasn't sure if it was going to be a full-on scrimmage. Obviously not televised. Real quick, we'll just give like the reasoning behind it just to get everybody lined up.
Recruiting.
Recruiting. Yeah. Talking about last spring game, because of that spring portal window, why
people can hop out.
Yep. And he said he got, you know, in his words, got multiple people getting offers, quote unquote tampering. I don't even know what the hell tampering is anymore. It seems all legal and loose because there's just nobody really enforcing a lot behind it. So yeah, it makes sense. Like, you're going to have a spring game, put on a show, and then as a result, a bunch of guys are going to get offers that you're going to have to deal with, or you could just not display it on national television. So that's the route they're going. Makes a lot of sense on top of roster limit, just chance of injuries. Guys are actually on NAL now. You want to reduce that as well. So I figured what they were going to do was not televise it, and maybe if they do anything that is something like the spring game, it's not televised, but it's an open showcase of like skill competitions at most. That hasn't been said, but that's just the theory I had, and maybe what they'll try to do here.
I mean, I can see it. Again, it's certain reps and everything like that you're still gonna have to get in. You still got a new DC, you still got a new offensive coordinator coming in and whatnot. So you can't replicate, game reps. So I still think there's gonna be a game, and you just can't not scrap it. Just for that reason, you still have to get your team ready. You know what I mean? So I can definitely see it not being televised. Maybe not a full game, maybe, a half or so. You got 2 12-minute halves or whatever, and call it a day. You can shorten it up. Your first team group, pretty much has the whole first 12 minutes or whatever to kind of, get warm and kind of good on good, and then you kind of filter everything out from there.
Yeah, and here's the answer on it. As we're talking about, like, what are they going to do right now? The last thing is Troy Dannon. It is a to be determined event, and then they asked Rule if there be some sort of spring game scrimmage format to wrap up spring practice, like not even televised. And He says, I don't know yet, but I'll be honest with you, I highly doubt it. So I'm not entirely sure what the move is here. But clearly, there's good reasons why you wouldn't want to do the spring game and televise it. How they get some sort of scrimmage in practice, that's kind of up to Matt Rule to decide how to.
I mean,
get those live
during fall camp, every Saturday, typically they scrimmage.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like, I mean, you got probably typically 3 big scrimmages or 2 big scrimmages before the game. Typically, that first Saturday is a real big scrimmage, and then the Saturday before like the spring game is typically, you know, that's where, you know, positions are won and lost on those Saturday scrimmages. Practice will come in, you kind of get loose and warm, and you kind of go at it for half a practice, and then it's okay, well, this is how stuff is going to be. And then, you know, by the spring game, you know, the whatever the depth chart is pretty much set in stone.
And then just real quick, final thing I got on the spring game, and then we got to spend the rest of the show try to get through these NBA trades. Like, how important was the spring game for you? Obviously, to the fan base, like it is special. Like a lot of families, you know, especially depending on income, like Husker games are expensive to get to and do all that. Come down to Lincoln, get a hotel, like so they'll take the kids to the spring game, and that's their way. Go watch Husker football, see the guys, and it's got a long tradition here. I know some fans are going to be really sad to see it go, but what is the attachment with the players? Because I don't necessarily hold that same standard to the players, you know, to have that love for the spring game.
You know, it was kind of the end of making it through camp. You know what I mean? Spring ball and everything like that. You put good tape out there and hopefully set yourself up for when we come back into fall camp. You know, to start things off, it was always fun because the fans, it wasn't, you know, a real actual game, but it was still a lot more involvement. You know, you could relax a little bit more and kind of engage with fans a whole lot more than typically on the sidelines and everything like that. I mean, it was a staple of coming to Nebraska. You know, they always talked about the spring game and whatnot. I understand not televising it, but to scrap it completely, I think that would be, you know, a huge disadvantage and loss for the fans and the opportunities of your young players. You got kids that are coming in, you got kids that are transferring in and whatnot. And it's only so much reps, you know, that you can get. And I understand, you know, maybe it is because of the numbers. The numbers aren't, you know, as much. Again, you can taper the game down, maybe not be a full game, but, you know, okay, hey, we got 2 halves. This is what it's going to be. 2 halves will equal, you know, 2.5 quarters or whatever, you know, get your work in and we're done. But I mean, it was definitely more insight for the fans, but I mean, the atmosphere, you got your family that can come out and everything like that. It's a weird time of the year. School's pretty much, you know, done and over with or going to be over with. But it sets the stage for when you come back to take care of business.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, I think. Like, because obviously for the players, the real joy in that is like, hey, you're getting into the end of camp. Or also, it's like another final chance to go ahead and put in your tape, like why I should be that guy next year. So definitely different levels of interest, but in terms of like why the interest is there. But yeah, I am a little bit sad to see it go. I'm curious to, you know, if they'll just have an open scrimmage with like fans can come. Obviously, you can't record and all that. How do you enforce that? That's all for Matt Rule, Troy Dan, and decide, you know, if they want to do something, you know, in place of that spring game. Real quick, though, still more football. I forgot about this one as well. There's been so much. Last football thing, Chip Kelly. He's a Raider. How do you feel about that? Now joining Pete Carroll as the head coach. You got Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. How are we feeling about the Raiders?
I want to see who the quarterback is. I like Chip. You know, he did his thing at Ohio State and everything like that. But from his last stint, you know, with the Eagles, and if you hear Deshaun Jackson talk about him and Shady McCoy, I mean, that's, and other players from that, you know, that you can't run an NFL team like you run it in college. That's just not going to work. There's going to be people, you know, with personalities like in there and whatnot. The offense definitely needs a boost at you know, a few positions. Like I said, it all depends who you get in there at quarterback. Are you going to draft somebody that you was just with in college, you know, maybe second round, third round, because you know what he can do? Are you going to go after somebody that you had, Marcus Mariota or one of those type of things that can run your system and do what you want to do? There's so many variables. I need more before I can be like, oh, okay, like that's great. I know he's an offensive mind. I know he's good with things and whatnot. But I need to know I need to see who's going to be calling the plays, who's going to be out there running the plays for you before I can be like, oh yeah, this is going to work, or do I love this hire or not?
Yeah, certainly the biggest problem, like with that hire, is any roster like that. Like, is it the roster or is it the coaches? Anytime you have, it's just not good enough to where it currently sits. You got some good players. We talk about it all the time before, though. Like, if you don't have that quarterback figured out, though, you're just not going to play well. You're going to struggle in more games than not. You're going to rely on your defense and special teams to make some miraculous momentum plays just to keep yourselves alive, like the Raiders did with the Chiefs not too long ago.
All the quarterbacks in the division are playoff quarterbacks.
Yes, and that's exactly what you're lacking.
You got a Hall of Fame coach. You got a heck of an offensive coordinator, which if he sticks to the plays and everything like that, should work. But you need something to staple everything through. So before I be like, oh yeah, this is great. Again, like I said, it depends who's calling the plays. It's going to dictate to a whole lot of things. It's a lot of pieces on that side of the ball. I think that will help out the defense.
Yeah, Pete Carroll makes me feel the best about it, just because I know Pete Carroll can work with a bad roster and he can work with a good roster. Like he's gonna get the team, in my opinion, to that its ceiling. That's one thing I feel like he's never gotten enough credit for. I think Pete Carroll's actually a really good coach. He's done a good job getting teams to outperform consistently. Chip Kelly is where I'm a little bit nervous. Like, well, how does he do if he doesn't have the quote unquote good roster or the guys he needs? Does he adjust, or does he just bury his head and continue to do what's not working because that's his way? So that's kind of where I'm at with Chip Kelly. Pete Carroll, I feel good about. He seems like a guy that's going to adjust on the fly. Chip Kelly, I don't know. That's kind of a wait and see moment. Even Ohio State, he's great there. The offense was dominant. There would be certain times where it just comes stalling out, and it felt like a little bit of unwilling to change in that second half. Even in the playoffs, Ohio State's offensive woes were typically second half, and the defense would do something really impressive to flip the tide. Real quick, we're going to go through an NBA trade, not the big one, but one of the big ones, and then we can talk about Luka and AD for the entire last segment. This one I want to real quick go through because you're a Bulls guy, and this one I'm about to bark up a wall. This is driving me nuts what the Bulls just keep doing. It's not that they got rid of Zach LaVine. So it's a three-way trade. The Spurs received De'Aaron Fox, which that's interesting all in itself. De'Aaron Fox.
Man, that's a steal itself.
Real quick, I just want to say on this, brilliant move for the Spurs.
Yes.
Because Chris Paul, I love Chris Paul, and he deserves the credit. He is so good at mentoring up-and-coming guards. And De'Aaron Fox has kind of hit a little bit of a wall in his development, it feels like. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a little bit of the same. We know what the story is of Shai is, and Shai doesn't, deny that Chris Paul was a big part in that. And now you're getting this with De'Aaron Fox, who is a phenomenal guard. He's, inconsistent shooting at times. But in terms of if he can get with Chris Paul and
not even that. I mean, the Spurs' young talent, the Spurs didn't have to give up any of their young guys. Nope. So they're going to be a problem, I think, for the next 2 years. Like you better hold your breath, because if they put it together, Pop has he might have created a dynasty, with this team that's coming. They got a lot of good pieces that once they get gelling and understand how to play and everything like that. I mean, it's kind of resembles how Kawhi was added to that group with Tim Duncan and Ginobili, and it's kind of copy and paste, just a younger group, and I mean they're going to be dangerous.
They are.
They're going to be dangerous.
I am just excited to keep watching that team. The older they get, I think it's just going to keep getting better and better. So real quick, I'll see what the Bulls received: Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, and 1 first-round pick. They messed up this trade so bad. If you were the Bulls, you need to start getting picks. They've gotten 1 pick from Alex Caruso in this trade combined. How are you getting rid of all of these players and getting no picks for the future? how are you going to rebuild? I don't understand. You look at the teams like Houston, OKC, all these, what the Kings are about to do. You look at what the Kings hauled out of it because they're rebuilding. They get Zach LaVine, but they get a 2025 first round, a 2027 first round, a 2023 first round, 2025 second round, 2028 second round, 2028 second round.
That's bad management. That's bad management.
Oh my, I'm losing my mind with the Chicago Bulls. It's like if you're going to rebuild, you need to get picks. We just got a bunch of rotational guys that are going to be, we're going to be exactly where we've always been with no real plan for the future. So that's my 2 cents on that trade. I'm really upset with the Bulls just keep giving away their best players with no assets for the future. It makes no sense to me, especially how good Zach LaVine is. You can't tell me you didn't have any leverage. That one's outrageous. So, I tip my cap to the Kings. I tip my cap to the Spurs. Bulls lost that 3-way trade. That's my 2 cents on that. We'll talk about the other trade on the other side. Luka, AD, craziest trade I've seen in a long time. We'll talk about that one last. Don't Punt Hour. Good morning, Pierson-El, Harrison Arns. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln Families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Ella Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Hey volleyballfans, this is Laura Dijkema, National Player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
The Jerky Bowl has kicked off at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska. From now until halftime of the big game, every online order gets you entered into their incredible giveaway. The grand prize is a 30-bag jerky sample pack, $225 value, while second place is a 15-bag sample pack, while third place is a Be Mine jerky box. Perfect for Valentine's Day. Order now at smokinggunjerky.com, and if you enter promo code EARLY, you'll not only get 10% off your order, but also be entered twice for the drawing. It's the Jerky Bowl at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease. Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa,
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, Pierson-El.
All right, final segment, Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, as always, wrapping things up here with a little bit more NBA. And the morning, Pierson, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the floor for this one. This trade, the AD Luka trade. What are your thoughts on it? Mavs receive Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a 2029 first-round pick. Lakers receive Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris.
I think both teams got what they wanted out of it. One team wants future success. Another team wants more so now success. There will be winners and losers, but there's a bigger winner today than there will be, maybe than a bigger winner, years down the road. Because let's say, Dallas picks up a championship or two because of this trade. That might cement them to be, the winner of this the whole holistically. But if a championship doesn't come out of it and you lose Luka and he turns a page and comes back to wreak havoc, you might be the loser. So it sent shockwaves in the sports world.
Which team got better out of that? Because the Mavericks, that's a good team, right? I'm not saying that's
I think the Mavs, and I don't think it's close. As a better team right now, who you plug and play with a few players and they'll be successful or can take the next step right now. I think the Mavs. You got
Kyrie, AD,
you got that. That
Klay
right
Thompson.
there. That right there. AD doesn't have to play the 5. He doesn't want to play the 5. He's gonna with them starting their offense from the middle of the floor will be crazy, and to throw AD in that, it's going to be a nightmare for teams. So they got 30 games left. These next 25 games are going to be crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at some of the other guys as well. So PJ Washington, Spencer Dinwiddie. Obviously they got rid of Max Christie, Daniel Gafford. It's a good team, right? I think I don't like this for the Mavericks though. Like despite everything, I hate it. Like, no, you don't let your face of the league, who everybody in your fan
but was he though?
Doors. Yes. Look, did you see how Mavericks fans reacted?
Yeah, I did.
It's not like AD's a bad player.
No,
but Luka was their guy. Like, they love Luka.
What? He wasn't.
Yeah, I'm saying.
You wanted it.
Who's the better player, Anthony Davis or Luka, right now?
That's not fair.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Luka or AD.
No, it's not. AD is older. They play two completely different positions. The style of what they play is completely different. That's like
you have to take one.
That's like saying comparing KD to Allen Iverson. Like, that's two completely different positions.
Yeah, but I can certainly say I'd rather have, one over the other.
Well, I mean, you have a
I'm taking
more
Luka over AD.
you have a more athletic Zion in Luka. You have he's missed a lot of games. When he's on the floor, like yes, he gets you bucket and whatnot, but clearly, he hasn't been taking his profession serious enough because I mean he was a liability last year. You can say, oh, he scores you points, he sells you all of that. At the end of the day, they said that they didn't care about that enough because you were hurting the team more so than helping it.
Yes, there were certainly times, but to say he was hurting it more than helping, it's insane. Yes, he was doing things that you could argue were hurting the team.
Luka's
also the reason that team has any chance.
And he's been in the league what 5 years?
He's 25, so yeah, around there.
In the 5 years that he has been in the league, Luka has only gotten over 70 games one time. That's bad. For your superstar, your face of your team, he's not healthy enough to be on the floor. Now, some of it could be injury. The other part of it is diet and everything like that. I'm not saying it was a right move, but I mean,
the Mavs get a guy who's injured all the time.
They know him better than anybody else, and you think, without a doubt, that they were okay with walking and with trading him away. It's something that they see or they know that's not necessarily going to change. Now he might change into, he might flip the page to be something better and whatnot, to be more, I don't want to say athletic, to be more in shape and whatnot. It'd be different if he was playing like the Joker. If he was playing like Joker with a bad bod, he wouldn't be traded. They would have sent him $500 million, but he wasn't.
I'll say this: I would be willing to side with you if they got some more picks out of it. I mean, Luka. The reason why I got beef with it is like you didn't, in my mind, get enough. Like if you're gonna get rid of Luka, you gotta do you think Austin Reeves or at least another pick? Like you got to get a little bit more if you're going to get rid of Luka.
Do you think that they can get to the Western Conference Finals with that team?
It depends who they're playing. If they're playing,
I didn't ask you that.
Yes, but they're not getting out of the West, so it doesn't matter.
But who's going to stop them?
I'm going to take the Nuggets. I'm going to take the Lakers.
Because if you get
Lakers, I'd take this Lakers team over that Mavericks.
You have pieces that can. I'm not trying to say replace Luka, but you have pieces that can make up for that. If Klay gets hot at the right time, I won't say he's had a down year, but if Klay gets a playoff Klay, that's anywhere from 20 to 30 points necessarily, and that's just pure shooting. You don't even need him to drive. We just need you to shoot. You got PJ that can get you 15 to 20 points. You got AD that's going to get you 20 to 30 points.
Yeah, he's good.
So you have pieces that can fill in that void. Now, it might not look, the way that it has been and everything like that, but in the next 2 years, they could possibly represent the West in the finals.
You surprised me so much with this morning. I really thought.
I'm just saying. I'm
going to be like, what the hell are the Mavericks doing? This has been a total shock to me, and I wish I would have started with this. We'll have to talk about it more tomorrow because no way in the world do I ever see that being the right move to get rid of the guy.
They got it right with Luka. So you telling me they obviously know how to scout?
You know what? I'll just say this so we can agree. Shout out to the Lakers. They turned that trade with Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, right? They get that one. They get AD. They get a championship ring out of AD, and then they send AD to the Mavs and get Luka and some other players.
Built for the future.
That one out of the park. I will say that. Like that trade just got better and better. The AD trade for the Lakers. So if you can agree on anything, Rob Pelinka, for all the criticism, absolutely killed that one. I thought he did a good job in the trade. All right, we got to get out of here, though. Don't go anywhere. We got spare time up next with a couple Husker Bowlers. Good morning, Pierson-El. Appreciate the time as always.